Klein slowly stood up and walked towards the window. It was dark outside, howling winds and pouring rain. It looked as if the end of the world had arrived. Thinking of what he was going to do next, he couldn't help but feel he was acting in a certain sense.
Smiling, he muttered to himself in a low voice,
"Tonight, Gammon joins the hunt."
Uncle Sparrow, since that kind of power definitely brings about threats and madness, why did you choose to have it? She had thought about this question for a long time before finally mustering the courage to ask. Klein was startled, and he instinctively formed a smile. "For my dream." Then he lowered his voice and said 2 words. "And protect."
No matter the size, giving up keys, you giving up, please. Sip my drink, but I got
Lady Despair pulled her veil and looked up into the sky. The afternoon sun was slowly being obscured by clouds and fog. Her steps were slow, and wherever she passed, the fog would noticeably thicken. A haze, which was a mixture of iron black and pale yellow colors, descended upon Eastborough, the dock area, and the factory district as it continued to spread throughout Backlund. Various scenes in the distance were drowned, and one by one, the figures collapsed in the fog in succession, while those who came into contact with them felt as if they had been infected by the plague. They died quickly, and even the able-bodied adults and children also felt slightly unwell. Lady Despair's expression was calm and gentle, as though she were finishing a work of art. Like an ordinary person, she walked among the dying citizens as she chuckled and said in a low voice,
"The Lowen Kingdom's history will remember this day. The Great Smog of Backlund."
This event was a large sacrifice rite cooperation of the royal family faction, Ince Zangwill, the Aurora Order, and the Demoness sect. This event was orchestrated by King George Augustus III, who had secretly advanced to Sequence 1 and was trying to advance to Sequence 0 to become a true god of the Black Emperor pathway. The 7 Orthodox deities wanted to have a Black Emperor, but they were not unanimous in their candidate. As such, when George Augustus III managed to obtain the opportunity to become one, the 7 deities had no choice but to give their tacit agreement. To stop the apotheosis ritual, Klein advanced to Sequence 3, and while he was advancing, the Sephiroth Castle, Mr. Fool's domain, produced a discernible phenomenon that was noticed by some powerful hidden figures. After receiving an anonymous letter, Leonard and Daly head to Revival Square, where they confront Ince Zangwill, already in the midst of battle against Gehrman Sparrow. Ince Zangwill had fallen into a trap made by the Spectator and suffered greatly from the side effect of sealed artifact 008, which was always trying to kill its owner. Ince used the arrangement of sealed artifact 008 to successfully drag a powerful unknown existence from the spirit world. Daly interrupts his escape by signing a contract with the unknown existence, making her almost lose control. The battle progresses as the demigod starts revealing his true form. Leonard uses the Fate Siphon charm, while Gehrman tries to control the demigod, trying to turn him into a marionette. As the battle rages on, the spectator appears unnoticed and takes sealed artifact 008, making Ince lose control.
Ince Zangwill's head completely exploded, and like a smashed watermelon, the fragments and the juice splattered everywhere. Death knell had sounded the knell for him. It was none other than Klein.
The lady was already on the brink of losing control. She said in a daze, "I don't want to become a monster." "All right." Klein looked at her with a sorrowful gaze as he quickly thought of the means to rescue a rampager. He had considered getting her to chant the fool's honorific name before pulling her spirit body above the gray fog. But with her body already mutating, it was apparently useless. "So it's you. Didn't you ask me why I didn't take the initiative to confess to Dunn, to throw him in bed?" She gasped for air and said with a bitter smile, "I had indulged myself too much in the past. He was a conservative man. I felt inferior." She couldn't hold out much longer, with the outcome of her becoming a monster happening at any moment. Daly smiled as her blurry gaze saw a man in a black trench coat with a receding hairline. He had dark gray eyes. She watched as he pressed his hand to his chest, bent down, and reached out his palm to invite her to a dance. She reached out her hand as her thoughts turned sluggish. The gray-eyed man in a black trench coat pulled up Daly, whose mutation was slowly fading away. Under Leonard's watch, they danced a brisk dance in the destroyed square, with the fountain spewing water everywhere. Amidst the beautiful dance, Daly leaned forward gently, resting herself in Dunn's embrace.
I am one and also infinity, the beginning and the end. A price is always exacted for what fate bestows.
Clasping a silver cross in front of his chest as he wore a genial and calm look. Adam, Twilight Hermit Order's chair, King of Angels Adam. Klein didn't even know when he had arrived. At this moment, Adam looked up, revealing his clear, limpid eyes that resembled a child's. He slowly stood up, speaking with a calm expression. George III's death causes Lowen to suffer a heavy blow. Unable to sit idle any further, Ince decides to take this opportunity to launch an attack. This war officially develops into a war that sweeps through the world. Can you accept such an outcome? Although there was no concept of temperature in the Hall of Truth, Klein still felt a chill down his spine when he heard that. He felt a wave of heat, and he wanted to defend himself, but when he opened his mouth, he didn't know what to say. For a few silent seconds, his figure was reflected in Adam's limpid eyes before he said with some difficulty, "I accept it, but I will try my best to minimize the damage caused by the war in the future so long as I'm still alive." Suddenly, Klein's body trembled. His voice came to a halt as he froze on the spot. In his line of sight, a figure had appeared on a chair beside the full-body mirror in the room. He was a young man of medium build, wearing a dark-colored jacket and trousers. He looked like a mixed-blood man with Lowen and Bellum roots. This was the marionette that Klein had lost, Winner Inuni. Inuni smiled as he faced Klein's pair of eyes that could no longer move.
"Don't leave your puppets to chance. They can be tracked."
As he spoke, he slowly stood up. He casually took out a crystal monocle from his pocket and slowly wore it on his right.
Shit, I stood just fine.
Let's get disrespectful.
You may have some respect when you attack the man.